May I have a motion to return the regular board meeting to public session? Ms. Kazmarek Bogner. Second, Mr. Bulin. All in favor? Carried unanimously. I call the regular board meeting to order. All board members are present. Dr. Balin, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be advised that in the event of a fire emergency and an evacuation should be necessary, an alarm will sound. Please note all marked emergency exits and evacuate well away from the building. At this time, we request that everyone turn their cell phones and other electronic devices to silent. Thank you. At this time, I would like to request that we have a moment of silence. Mrs. Teresa Ann Leatherbarrow, Board of Education member, who has passed away. Thank you. At this time, we felt it was appropriate that each board member will now say a word that best exemplifies Teresa Leatherbarrow.
My word would be committed.
Giving,
Passionate.
Mom.
understanding,
Passionate.
Missed.
Love.
Thank you. Item 2F. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Dr. Littman,
Is this supposed to make my motion now or just,
yes.
okay. I'd like to add to our agenda to be listed as right after 5A. I make a motion to not fill the vacant seat on the Board of Education effective March 14th, 2023.
Is there a second? Mr. Bulin. All in favor of Dr. Littman's motion?
May I have a point of clarification here? So are we voting on the motion right now? Or are we voting to change the agenda to add the motion at that point? I'm unclear.
This would be adding that.
Adding that.
If,
We're voting on the agenda.
okay,
They add it.
To add,
would be, I apologize then. It would be added that would also possibly change the next part of the agenda also, because that would change items 5B and C.
Right. So it would be just a change in
So
agenda.
we would have to, so I guess in one sense, we can't vote for 5B and C until we get there to see what happens.
yes.
Am I correct on the ordering? Or we need to change or discuss everything now?
So you work, right now, it's just the agenda. We're just voting on the agenda. So we're voting to add
To add that item.
that. So that will be number B, and all the other numbers would go down. So what is now B will become C, what is C would become D, contingent upon the action of B.
So we would not need another vote based on,
We're voting on the change to add that item under the agenda.
okay.
And when it gets to there, we vote again.
Then we vote on that topic
All in
You want-
favor
of changing the
of
agenda.
changing the agenda to add an item under, right after 5A,
8.2.
Yeah, 8.2.
Discussion? Point one.
Any discussion on the agenda then?
Changing the agenda.
Never mind.
Okay. All in favor of the amended agenda? Carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Item number 3. Dr. Brown Hall, I turn it over to you to talk about some recognition.
So I just want a clarification, right? Because you voted to amend the agenda, but now you have to vote to accept the agenda
As amended.
as amended.
Nope.
Correct. Yes, sorry.
You have to do that step.
All in favor of accepting the agenda as amended?
You need a motion.
Motion to do
Yes,
it.
yeah, so if
Make the
someone
motion
can
to
motion to approve
Approve the
the
amended
agenda
agenda.
as
Make the
amended.
motion to approve the amended agenda.
Thank you.
Need a second?
Second.
Now, all in favor?
Now we got it.
Now I'll do board recognitions. So, building character is one of the most important aspects of positive social emotional learning that allows our students to develop their unique potential and thrive as learners, citizens, and leaders in a diverse global community. At Heim Middle School, this is done on a weekly and monthly basis through several building initiatives and activities. I'd like to welcome up Heim Middle School Principal Extraordinaire, Dr. Jeff Chikluski, to share more about their Positivity Project.
Thank you for that warm welcome, Dr. Brown Hall, Principal Extraordinaire. Not sure about that, but good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss what we do at Heim Middle School. Our inclusive environment provides all of our students with social emotional learning and character building activities. For instance, today we held a kindness event after school, and we had developmentally disabled people from Aspire Western Europe come to Heim to work with our kids on making cards and posters to brighten people's days. We also extend these character building activities to our families by sending them videos and discussion questions twice a month to the parents to allow them to see what we do in school. So this is some of what you're going to see in the video and what we do at Heim Middle School.
Awesome.
At Heim Middle School, we emphasize character throughout the building for all of our students. One of the things that we did this year was a Heim Gives Back Day, where we had students, they created door decorations for local senior citizens' homes. They did cards for vets, Project Linus blankets for Children's Hospital. So we try to provide as many opportunities as possible for our students to have wellness experiences and go through positive social emotional learning. A perfect example is the Positivity Project. All of our teachers in homeroom are providing an opportunity to go through different character themes because it's something that we definitely stress growing into a good person. And we're able to see that on a daily basis with the help of the Positivity Project.
As you go through there, it's not hard to say thank you. Today's topic was, how can we appreciate the good in others? You take a concept and you put it out there and let them kind of run with it. If it impacts them, then maybe they're taking it home and sharing it with their brother or sister or mom and dad or whatever. And that's huge because it's just like a math. You need to teach them math and, numbers and community property and things like that. You have to do the same thing with character. Otherwise, you're going to miss.
I've learned how to be respectful and how to be kind. I think it's good because you kind of get more social with people and you kind of get to make new friends.
We work together with people at our tables. People talk about their experiences. It's fun because I get to learn more.
One of the most important things we can teach our students here is how to be good people. And that's really our goal when they leave this school and move on to high school. We want people to know that they came from Heim because they're really good people with a really good set of character values, and they're going to be contributing members to society because of the foundation that we set here at the middle school.
Awesome. That was great to see. Thank you very much, Principal Jaclusi. Setting records is tough to do. However, this season, Williamsville South's Gretchen Dolan scored at a prolific rate for the Billy's girls basketball team and set a new Section 6 single season scoring record with 813 points. She finished her career with 2,622 total points, which is a 12th all-time in New York State girls basketball history. I'd like to welcome up Adam Erickson, Williamsville South's athletic director, Gretchen Dolan, and her family to be recognized for this incredible accomplishment.
Good evening, everyone. It is my honor and privilege to introduce a student athlete from Williamsville South High School that has achieved some of the highest awards and recognition in the sport of basketball in our region. This season, Gretchen broke and now currently holds a Section 6 record for points in a single season with 813. She also set the all-time points record for the entire Williamsville South basketball program, this is boys and girls, at a total of 2,622 points for her career.
Wow.
Gretchen has exemplified the highest level of character as a student athlete. She showed examples of her character through hard work, determination, sportsmanship, as well as skill on the basketball court. However, one of her greatest qualities that Gretchen possesses is her ability to be a great teammate and encourage growth of those around her. Her leadership helped the Williamsville South girls basketball team capture the 2023 Section 6 Class A2 title. It has been a pleasure to watch her growth over the past 6 seasons at Williamsville South, and I look forward to the next chapter in her athletics career playing basketball at the University of Illinois. In addition, a lot of Gretchen's success would not have been reached without the countless hours and effort put in from Coach Kristen Dolan. Positive influences like Coach Dolan in the lives of our student athletes help them achieve success not only on the court, but in the lives beyond athletics. I would like to thank Coach Dolan for all she has done and continues to do for the Williamsville South Athletics Department. At this time, I would like to introduce and welcome them to the group, Gretchen Dolan and her coach and mother, Coach Kristen Dolan.
Thank you just for having me. I really appreciate the recognition and you all for having me here. It means a lot. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. That's awesome. Coach.
Yes, just like Gretchen said, it's nice that you have us here this evening, and we appreciate all of the support that the community has shown throughout the season and over the years. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It means a lot. I mean, I actually didn't even know until after the game. You know, it just kind of puts it in perspective. I want to credit it to my teammates and coaches just for the positions they put me in and, for supporting me every day and helping me be successful.
You never see anything negative out of Gretchen. She always carries herself knowing that she's representing Williamsville South. She always brings the same presence, and that is just teammate leadership and everything that she can do on the court. We all get the luxury of saying Gretchen's a Williamsville South student athlete, but this is all Gretchen and the hard work she does.
So excited for Gretchen and proud of her. She'll be the first one to thank her teammates. She realizes, how important they are, and we couldn't do it without the team. They've been working hard all year. It's a special group.
I reflect back on my friends who I've played with, the places I've gone while playing the sport and just like the experiences I've had. I just think about like how much this sport, has given to me. Yeah, that's why I do it.
Congratulations again, Gretchen, and best of luck at the University of Illinois. Finally, tonight we are recognizing an individual whose hard work, dedication, and perseverance led him to the top of the podium in high school wrestling. In February, Williamsville North's Cam Ketcherbone became the first wrestler in program history to win a state title. To share more about his journey, I'd like to welcome up Julie Arnold, Williamsville North's athletic director, the champ himself, Cam, and his family to share more. Isn't it when these athletes walk to the podium, it's impressive, right? They walk like, yes, yes. Great job.
When they jump.
And Cam, right?
Good
Julie, I'm
evening,
sorry.
and thank you very much for having us here and taking the time to honor the students and the student athletes. I believe what you do here is so integral to the success of our staff and our student athletes. So without the work that this group does, as well as the support that we get from our Williamsville community, none of this would be possible. So it's a sincere thank you to all of you. A sincere thank you also to our Williamsville North staff and administration, as well as our coaches, a couple that couldn't be here tonight, Coach Joe Muscarella, Coach Joe Herberger, Coach Tom Shiflett, and Coach and father, Coach Jeff Ketcherbone, as well as his mom, his younger sister. Cameron is a stellar athlete. But he's also a stellar student and just a stellar individual. I've had the honor of being his athletic director and watching him on the wrestling mat the past 3 years, and he's just incredible to watch. But more importantly, he's a great young man, and he's also a great student within the classroom as well, upholding a high academic excellence throughout his high school career. Just going to read off a few of his accomplishments. Probably won't like that I do this, but it's definitely worth noting. As Dr. Brownhall mentioned, he is the 2023 New York State champion at the 145-pound weight class, and he is the first state champion in Williamsville North wrestling history. He has wrestled in the past 5 New York State wrestling meets. He is a 5-time Section 6 champion. His current overall record in wrestling is 191 wins and 19 losses. He's undefeated in Section 6 for the last 3 years. The Beast of the East Wrestling Tournament, the Powerade Tournament, and the Eastern States Championship. He was the Eastern States champion. These are 3 tournaments in which he travels nationally and faces some of the best wrestlers within the country. So it's not just New York State. April 2021, Cameron was a 132-pound freshman division champion at the National High School Coaches Association tournament that was in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And as I mentioned, he also is a great student, a student within the classroom. He has a 92 GPA currently, so he does both well both on and off the mat. Cameron's senior year, his #1 goal next year is to become the #1 ranked wrestler in the country in his weight class. He looks forward to defending his New York State title and winning another state championship to bring home to Williamsville North. He will sign his official letter of intent this coming November to wrestle Division I at the University of Michigan in the fall of 2024.
Awesome.
I have the pleasure again to introduce Cameron, as well as his coach and father and some of his family members. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to be here, and I'd like to thank my family and my friends, and I'm grateful for the community I have and all the support I have coming up towards all the accomplishments I've achieved. Thank you.
Thank you, Cam.
I'm Jeff Ketcherbone, Cameron's father. I'm very honored to be here, and I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time out of your busy schedule tonight to honor him for this, and very well. Thank you so much.
Awesome job.
Thank you, Coach Jeff. That is awesome. Great starting the meeting with those highlights. We have a video now. Awesome.
it's super exciting considering no one else has won it from the school. But to me, it's just another tournament. You know, I wrestle every day. It's the same thing. It's a 6-minute match. Before the tournament, I just took it as any other tournament. I just knew it's important to win for my school, my community, and my family. The support I get from my family and my coach, I couldn't have finished the season so well without them. Yeah, I'm blessed.
It's a dream come true to have your son win the pinnacle to win the state title. You know, he's worked his tail off. I'm happy for him. Hopefully he can make a world team this summer and represent the United States, and also get on and wrestle at the University of Michigan, hopefully become a multiple-time national champ.
Cameron is an extremely tough kid. To win, a state championship speaks volumes to his coaching staff, but more so the kid puts in a ton of work, and he's a great student overall. So for somebody of his character to bring a state championship back to not just the school, but the community itself is a really great achievement, something we're really proud of.
That is awesome. Congratulations. I like to see the school community rally around you also. That was phenomenal. So, Dr. McCleary, oh, yes, picture. Absolutely. I forgot. Thank you, Nick. If we can get Cam and Gretchen, if you don't mind coming up here. Directors and their she said, I'm visiting.
State champion school board member.
That is awesome.
Thank you, everyone. This time, I would like to acknowledge Sahib Zarkur, who won the regional spelling bee to advance to the Scripps National Spelling Bee. And I do not believe that he is here, but we can certainly acknowledge him along with the other ones. Are there any other board acknowledgements? I'm sorry, Dr. Littman.
Yes, I had the opportunity last weekend to see at Williamsville North Mamma Mia. And not only was it finally produced, directed, choreographed, performed, and all of that, I just wanted to comment that it's another opportunity for, it looked like there was 100 students involved and a large number of faculty doing all this work. And I just know, listening to the people who was there and other people who I talked to in the community, that they were all very impressed, as every other performance I've seen in my many years in Williamsville. So, I just want to acknowledge all the work our students in music and dance and the choreography and staging and all of those other things do to help develop our students. So,
Thank you. And I would take those exact same words and add that I had the opportunity to see the South musical, Addams Family, and the East musical, Anastasia. And as Dr. Littman said, we have examples in all three of our high schools of just all of the wonderful interest, dedication, performances of our performing students. Anyone else? At this time, I call on Ms. Poulin to review our public expression format.
For policy 1510, the board allows for up to 30 minutes of public comment, a time when we invite members of our school community to share ideas, opinions, and concerns with us. While we are here to listen carefully, we take your concerns seriously. Public comment is not designed to be a discussion. Therefore, please do not expect us to respond tonight. Instead, you will receive a response by email after our meeting. Because we want to maintain mutual respect and civility, please ensure that comments are delivered in a respectful manner to the board directly. Also, under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to entertain any comments related to employee personnel information or any topic that may disclose information about a particular student. On these matters, we ask that you go through appropriate administrative channels. Please note that individuals are required to sign up prior to our meeting, and each speaker is allotted 3 minutes for comment. You'll be signaled at 2.5 minutes so that you may conclude your remarks. At this time, we will begin our public comments. After I call on you, please step up to the podium and state your name. Devin Jafari. Devin appears not to be with us. Phil Danielson.
Hello, my name is Phil Danielson. I'm a parent of 2 children here in the district. As you lead the district, I encourage each curriculum and book selection be based on what would be considered by an easy majority of the district, greater than 50%, to be true, noble, right, pure, honest, lovely, admirable, excellent, praiseworthy, whether in art, English, library, math, music, science, or whatever the subject. In this broken world we live in, attaining to these will not be easy. They will require diligence, hard work, restraint, self-control, focus, determination, and many more. Molding and shaping the next generation is a significant responsibility. Thank you. God bless America.
Thank you. Mary Beeger.
Hi, my name is Mary Beeger. For 6 years, I had the honor of serving on the Williamsville School Board with Teresa Leatherbarrow. She had a powerful impact on me and on our district in many ways. So I'd like to share a couple of these reflections. Reflecting on her involvement. When Teresa saw an issue that could be improved, she got involved. When she wanted more, when she wanted to learn more, she got involved. As younger parents, we were upset about our kids not having recess. That used to be a thing. And heavy emphasis on standardized testing. She encouraged me to run for the board with her in 2016, and I wouldn't have done it without her encouragement. And rather than working against the district, we learned that we could impact change by working with the district. So that's what we did. Getting involved helped me to see all the good people working in Williamsville that also want what's best for kids. This was such an impactful shift for me, and not just getting involved with the school board. By getting involved with district activities as a parent, I learned how to become more informed about my child's education. By attending PTA meetings, I've met other parents that volunteer their time to make school a better place for teachers and students. Teresa felt so strongly that parents should go to the source, to the district, to find information. So when I have questions, thoughts, and ideas, I talk to my child's teacher or principal. Our superintendent and our building leaders put together beautiful pieces of communication each week, reflecting on her strength. I'll always remember Teresa's unrelenting, incredibly strong spirit. She always acted on what she believed was the best interest of our students, and she used that as her guiding light to vote in the way she felt was best. She spoke up, she asked questions, and was always determined to do what she felt was right. She was not afraid of controversy. She believed in our kids, and she always pushed for the district to strive to be better. Teresa taught me about being strong. I learned it was important for board members to ask questions and clarifications, to speak up, to be present. I learned to find facts, to be confident in what I believed was right, and vote accordingly. And as board members, we felt it was important to explain and defend the good work that was happening in our schools. And lastly, reflecting on her kindness. Teresa was tough as nails, and she also had the kindest heart. She always showed kindness with her words and her actions. Many people have been offering their thoughts and prayers with the sad news of her passing, and it's so wonderful you have Teresa and her family in your hearts. Another thing that we can all do to honor her is to simply offer kindness to others. We can reflect on our words and how they impact others, as Teresa did. She taught me to set aside emotions and choose to respond to situations with kindness. So before targeting specific people or before complaining about work done by parents and students on school or district committees, we can choose to think about the faces and the feelings and the families that are impacted by our words. We can converse, debate, learn from each other, grow with each other without pointing fingers at each other. Teresa believed that if we expect our children to be kind, we need to model kindness for them. And that is what she did. She helped me to see this. Listening, talking, trying to understand each other, thinking about what's most important, what's best for kids, staying focused, staying grounded. These are the things Teresa did day after day, meeting after meeting. Teresa Leatherbarrow selflessly served on the Williamsville School Board of Education in hopes of leaving this district a better place. I believe she succeeded in this, and on a personal level, I can say that she's left me a better person. I hope that her light, her strength, her passion, and kindness continues to shine within all of you as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kim Reisweber.
It's a tough one to follow. All right, so tonight I just wanted to speak with you to highlight some of the discrepancies in communication that I've recently noticed from the district, and hope maybe that you guys can look into some of the issues. So unfortunately, in the years that I've had children here, I've never seen a text message specifically reminding the community about an upcoming Board of Ed meeting. I know that there's reminders within the link that is sent out with the superintendent's weekly update. However, the reminder for the recent logo vote was included there as well. And yet the community received around 12 to, I think, 14 texts reminding us specifically to vote on a logo. Interestingly, the logo vote was deployed at the same time as the DEI plan. We received significantly less reminders, if any, to comment on that plan, yet the plan has an infinitely greater impact on our children than the logo. I would encourage this board to take an accurate and honest inventory on what is being communicated to your stakeholders and, more importantly, what is not. Lastly, since I have the community's attention, if any of you are interested in helping to write the course of this district, please contact Williamsville Students First. Thank you.
I believe that Devon Jeffrey has entered the room. Is that correct? Nope. Okay.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Jonathan Rich.
Hey, everyone. The board has a hard decision to make tonight. I think the board's been faced with a difficult vacancy. And the reality of the situation is that sitting on the Board of Education, oftentimes you're going to have to do things that don't feel good. You're going to have to do things that aren't easy. And you're going to have to do things that maybe aren't necessarily popular. I'm not, I shared some information with the board today, and I'm not going to tread over any of that, besides to say that I hope that tonight, when the board makes a decision on this vacancy, it's made for the benefit of the district and of the students and of the community, and not because it's the easy decision, not because it's a decision that feels good, but because it's a decision that's the right thing for the district. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
And that will conclude our public comment session for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Poulin. We are now at item 5A. May I have a motion to approve and accept the resignation letter of Board Member Leatherbarrow as presented? Ms. Poulin, second. Dr. Singh, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Due to the amendment to the agenda, I believe that Dr. Littman, would you now like to make a motion? Please make sure I'm doing this
Yes.
correctly.
Okay, the motion that I brought forward before is I would like to make a motion to not fill the vacant seat on the Board of Education that would be available effective March 14th, 2023.
There a second? Mr. Bulin? Discussion?
Okay. First, I have no issue with the pool of highly qualified candidates who have applied. I've reviewed their resumes and their information, and I'm very happy to see a large number of people with very strong credentials who are interested in providing service to the district by being appointed to the Board of Education. My issue is not really a people issue. It's more of a process issue related to my interpretation of policy 1230. I had asked for a copy of a legal ruling on this matter from Harris Beach, which I heard provided legal advice, which I did not receive. And to continue, we've had no formal discussions with any of these Board of Ed applicants, as has been done historically through the years. So in my mind, with the human resource background, this decision is being made on written information and informal communication, which I don't think is a good policy in selection. There's been no formal Board of Education guidelines to consistently evaluate these qualified candidates. Another point, we're 62 days away from an election. By selecting a specific candidate, we are providing them an incumbency, which gives them an advantage in the election. I don't believe the board should be choosing incumbents. I believe we serve the community, and the community should select who should sit on this board. This Board of Ed member should be selected by a public vote with no influence from this current board. Let's see. The other is a time issue. This has been put together in a very, let's say, quick manner. But again, we have competent people who did put this together. So that's, again, not my issue. But again, my belief that this 2-week time period really doesn't give us much time to look at candidates. And second, it takes a decision away from the community. And as I mentioned before, since we represent the community, I don't feel it is appropriate for us to fill this seat. The other point is, again, in my mind, to honor Teresa's memory. I personally, since she sat next to me, that, we not do that. So again, my point is I don't feel that there is a specific need to fill this vacancy at the present time. And that's my thoughts.
Anyone else like to make any comments?
I'll just address one point that Dr. Lemon brought up.
Yes.
I had the privilege and obligation to pick up the letter of resignation from Teresa shortly after she had arrived back to her home on hospice care. And it was her intent and will that that position be filled. And so in honoring her memory, it would be remiss of us not to fill that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that information. I appreciate it.
I agree. We have wonderful candidates, and I do hope, in fact, that many of them are planning to run for the position. I think we have a lot of important work to do in the next 62 days, and I think it is to our advantage to be fully represented in all voting matters, so that the possibility of a split vote is not, in fact, an option. So I will put that forward. Also, per policy, we have the obligation to fill the position, and that is part of our policy. So,
Anyone else like to comment? Mr. Visconti?
I know it's our obligation. I think it's just, as Dr. Lippman stated, it's hard, for me as a personal board member to read 26 wonderful, letters and intents, but it's just hard to make a decision in that time frame. Being on multiple interview committees in previous years for different jobs, it's hard. I mean, I don't feel I could pick one without hearing, them discuss things or answer questions or anything like that. And, I have kids in the district. I have neighbors that have kids in the district. And ultimately, I have to kind of agree that it should be left up to the community to vote. Yes, it's our obligation to fill it. It was a difficult decision for myself to come to, my feelings on it, but I think we work well enough together that I don't know if a split vote would ever occur. I think we discuss in whether, internally we have disagreements. I think we have an understanding to come together as a board for the community, for the students. So it's kind of where I'm at.
Anyone else? Dr. Singh?
I am in kind of partial agreement with both the mics. I think I've been looking at all the resumes of the 23 candidates, and it's amazing to see so much interest from the community to be a part of the board. There was a time when there wasn't so much interest, and I'm so happy to see that. But having said that, I think this is not our decision to make. I would rather have community decide. It's only 60 days, right, for the election? 2 days. And process that we have selected is not the most rigorous process. So I'm more inclined at the moment to not fill the seat.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I just want to echo, I agree with all that we've heard at the table. I think it's really up to the public. It's not up to the 8 of us to decide it. And it's my understanding from legality, we do not have to fill the seat because it falls within the 90 days. I think it's really up to the people that elected us to pick the next representative and not the 8 of us. And again, I have no problem with the people. I think the people are wonderful. I just think that we cannot make an informed enough decision in this time frame.
Anyone else? Ms. Kazmarek Bogner?
Yes. Either way, the public will be voting. Is it May 14th this year, I believe? May 16th? Thank you. This would just be an interim appointment from now until that point, and I do think there is an obligation to fill the role and to have a full board. We do not know what's going to happen in the next 2 months. It's always better to have more people than fewer people present at a board meeting. And I also believe that there are, in addition to having the full 9-member board, remembering that we do need 5 votes, a majority vote, even if we only have 8 members present, right? So I do think that that should be considered as well, as also with the liaison and other school board assignments that we have to complete in the next 2 months. So thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah,
Dr. Lee?
just, from not that I know all of the history, but I know historically there have been times where board members have resigned and they were not replaced for even longer periods of time. I think one was in the year 2002. Don Henning resigned after 1 month. And the board at that, even I was on the board then, I'm older, but not that older. And that position was not filled. So again, it's really up to the board to decide individually what we think would be best. And again.
Anything else? No other comments? We have a motion on the floor that has been seconded. So all in favor of leaving the position vacant until the next election, May 16th? Raise your hand.
Want to do that or do you want to do a roll call?
Or should it be a roll call?
It's just a motion.
Therefore, an motion.
All right. I'm sorry. So please raise your hand if you are in favor of leaving the position vacant. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
Motion passes. Therefore, I would like to echo certainly what was said by a few other individuals, that I myself, as I read over every single one of the applications, I would constantly think that I really hope that person A or person X or person Y will think about running in the May election. We appreciate that you have set forth your interest, but it is the decision of the board that we are not going to fill the position at this time. But you are thanked for your willingness to come and serve on the board. And at this point, then, in terms of our agenda, we are also altering it that we are not doing 5B or 5C. And we are to number 6, our consent agenda. Correct? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda item 7, personnel, 8, business, and 9, special needs and student activities as presented? Ms. Poulin, second. Ms. Kazmarek Bogner. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. On behalf of the Board of Education, congratulations and welcome Ms. Claire Battle, Casey Middle School Assistant Principal.
Thank you. Good evening. I would just like to thank Superintendent Dr. Brown Hall, the Board of Education, Principal Harding and all the faculty and supporters here tonight. As I begin this next chapter in my Williamsville journey, 10 years ago, I left a teaching position here in the district with the hopes of one day returning. And today is that day. I could not be more excited. Last year, when my family and I made the decision to move back to Western New York, my husband and I had a difficult time finding a house because we knew we wanted it in Williamsville. We wanted our children to be raised here. We wanted to come back to the community that we knew and we loved. So I am happy to say that my children are growing and thriving in the schools here, and I'm looking forward to growing, learning, and leading as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 10. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the February 7th regular board meeting? Dr. Littman. Second. Ms. Poulin. Are there any corrections? All in favor? Carried unanimously. And at this time, I would like to thank the following retirees for their service to the district. Cynthia Delamere, Transit Middle School for 19 years of service, and Deborah Heim, Transit Middle for 22 years of service. Thank you. Item 11, the President's Report. The upcoming events are listed in board docs. The community forum will be held on March 28th after the budget work session at Casey Middle in the library with an approximate start time of 7:30 p.m. Are any board members interested in helping facilitate the forum? Dr. Singh? Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Bulin? Anyone else?
I will if nobody else will.
Okay. Thank you. The board retreat is scheduled for April 13th. And conversations with the Board of Education and Superintendent for the faculty and staff will be held on May 3rd from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the East High School Commons. The next school building visit will be on March 31st at Heim Elementary and Heim Middle. Are any board members able to attend? Ms. Poulin? Ms. Kazmierzak-Bogner?
Dr. Littman.
Dr. Littman? Ms. Bleckinger? Thank you. Item 11B. At our last meeting, we requested an agenda item be discussed at this meeting. Okay. The New York State Legislature and Governor Kathy Hochul have approved a property tax assessment exemption of 10% on the primary home for volunteer first responders who have been members of a fire department or ambulance service for at least 2 years. Would Dr. Brown Hall or Mr. Matursky like to add any comments on this topic?
I'll ask if our Chief Financial Officer, Tom Matursky, can comment. He did comment at the last meeting, but he can add to that today.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Brown Hall. In reviewing the information and the number of exemptions that we had from Erie County for these two areas from last year, so last tax levy, the increase that it would be on the general levy would turn out to be 0.1%, which translates into 61 cents on the tax rate. So that amount would then be shared with the rest of the community. It's very, very minor.
Thank you. Anyone on the board have a question or comment? Okay. Then at this time, I would like a motion to approve the Town of Amherst Fire Department tax exemption as discussed. Dr. Littman, second, Dr. Singh. Any further discussion?
Just one question.
Yes.
Our school district has even town of Cheektowaga and Clarence. Does it cover all the firefighters?
It would be the firefighters that are affected by the Williamsville School District, I believe. I shouldn't say that. So,
Because it says town of Amherst exemption, so just clarifying.
but it's an exemption on your school taxes,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, wherever you pay the school taxes
Okay.
correctly.
Yeah.
And there are qualifiers. It's not just for any firefighter. There's qualifiers
Yep.
on it also.
Okay.
Yes, I agree that sometimes we do have those little pockets of whether someone is in Clarence and lives in Clarence or has school in Clarence. But yes, it refers to where you pay your taxes. So it would be anyone who has Williamsville taxes,
Thank
school
you.
taxes. Anyway, all in favor? Thank you, carried unanimously. 11C, the Policy 6000 Series Committee will be meeting in April, and the time and date to be determined. Thank you, Ms. Fleckinger, Ms. Kazmarek-Bogner, and Ms. Poulin for serving on this policy committee.
We will work on the date. I'll work with District Clerk Lynn Carey, and we'll try to find a date that will work for all three of you. Okay?
At this time, I call on District Clerk Lynn Carey to share information regarding board candidates packet and the annual vote.
Hello, everyone. The board candidate packet is available. It is in board docs also, and there is the vote is May 16th, 7 till 9 p.m. at North High School in the gymnasium. Any information is all in board docs, and please reach out and give me a call if you have any other questions regarding the candidate packet. Any questions from the board at this time?
Could you just give a reminder of when the packet is back?
Yes,
to you.
petitions, some important information about that. The petitions are due back to me by April 17th. So once the candidates have received more than the 71 minimum, or we ask for more, that qualifies them as an official candidate. But that due date back to me is April 17th.
Thank you.
Or before. Thank you. Yeah, yes, Dr. Singh.
I'm sure you've done this already, but can we just request all the interested candidates who applied for the open position to consider running for the school board?
Yes, I did also send all those, the people that were interested in this vacant position, also information regarding the position, it would be the fourth highest vote recipient at the vote would fill that seat for that term. It would be May 17th to June 30th, 2025. But yeah, I did send a forth all that information, and we'll be following up with everybody especially regarding the ECASB. They're having a workshop at the end of March. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Lynn, she had packets for everyone that put in information for that. So as you can tell, Lynn is very effective, efficient, and robust in her work. So thank you, Lynn.
Yes, we do. Thank you for all of your help. Thank you. Upcoming events and meetings for ECASB and NISBA information are listed in board docs. Does anyone have anything to report related to ECASB and/or NISBA? Item number H. At the annual Erie One BOCES meeting, they will be reviewing the nominations for the April elections for 2 board member seats, which carry a 3-year term. Presently, there are 2 candidates who are seeking re-election, and we have been provided with their letters so that all of us have had a chance to review that. Would someone like to make a motion to nominate a candidate for the Erie One BOCES board? In other words, is someone interested in putting forth either John Sherman's name or Jane McGregor-Plar to be put on the ballot when we vote in April? No? No? Okay.
Dr. Singh has his.
Dr. Singh?
I mean, I can propose to nominate John Sherman as candidate for election for the Erie One BOCES.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Poulin. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor of putting this individual on the ballot? Thank you. Is there anyone who is interested in making another nomination? Ms. Kazmarek-Bogner?
Yes, I resolve to nominate Ms. Jane McGregor-Plar, the incumbent located in the Frontier Central School District, as a candidate for the election to be held on April 19th, 2022, to serve as a trustee for the Board of Cooperative Educational Services, First Supervisory District of Erie County, in a term beginning July 1st, 2022. That cannot be correct. 2023 through June 30th, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second? Dr. Lippman, discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Motion carried unanimously. And Erie One BOCES will present its tentative administrative capital and program budgets for 2023-24 to the members of the Boards of Education of the 19 component school districts for their review. All 19 component school districts are required to vote on the Erie One BOCES budget and Erie One BOCES board candidates on the 3rd Tuesday in April, which is April 18th. And I believe it is already on our calendar. Okay. Item number 12, Dr. Brown Hall, I turn it over to you for a community update.
Thank you very much, Board President McCleary. So I will get to this community update because we do have a lot in there this month. So first and foremost, Board of Education election. So we just saw our phenomenal district clerk give information on that. But again, so that it's in the community update, so any community member can click on this in board docs and have the information available to them. So we have Lynn Carey's email there, her phone number, and candidate packets are due April 17th. And what Lynn was mentioning, the Erie County Association of School Boards does have a prospective Board of Education member workshop on March 25th from 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So March 25th is a Saturday. So if you're interested, please attend. They do have panelists. They have current board members, former board members to give insights and highlights.
And including
Maureen, you're on the panel?
On the panel.
Awesome, Board Member Poulin. Thank you very much.
somebody else.
Anyone else on the panel?
They didn't like me, they picked her.
Thank you for sharing your experience with prospective board members. We appreciate it. Board of Education elections, they will be held on May 16th. That is also the night of the budget vote. So the top 3 candidates in the May election will be elected to serve 3-year terms beginning July 1, 2023 and ending July 1, 2026. What the board voted on earlier, not to fill the vacant seat, we will then have the candidate with the 4th highest votes will be elected to the board and serve the final 2 years of the vacated term. So that will begin on May 17th, 2023 until July 1st, 2025. But of course, you can't serve until you're sworn in. So close to May 17th. Logo vote and rebranding costs. So I wanted to talk about this because we've gotten letters, emails about how we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for the logo vote and rebranding, and that's inaccurate. So let me help clear that up. So we've had more than 6,300 people vote in the community-wide logo vote. So the winning logo will be revealed on March 28th during the community forum at Casey Middle School. The cost for redesigning the logo was actually $0. So there was no money used to redesign the logo. While most printing is done on demand, the district plans to phase out materials already printed that may include the current logo that may have been put on envelopes or letterhead, etc. Many companies don't have printed letterhead like they did before, you know, the real fine paper and stuff. It absolutely just comes out when you print now, right? So there's no need. We don't have like these cases and cases of this fine linen cardstock in our closets anymore. So Carpix, a lot of people are asking about the Carpix also. Now, those were expensive when the district bought them in 2019, 2020. They were about $25,000 each. So that was about $200,000. So we are not replacing them. That is not a priority to replace Carpix, right? So we're not going to be spending $200,000 on that. So you said, well, where else does the logo appear? I want to be very clear also, when you look at our schools in the district, a lot of the branding the schools do is with the school logo, right? So there's not any of our athletic teams that are running around with the Williamsville logo. They have their school logo on it, right? So in order to make sure that we look at the different things, we wanted to highlight them here. So district vehicles, we have 25 vehicles, and that will be between $110 and $170 per vehicle to have the decals replaced. The welcome sign at the district office is approximately $34. The Board of Education meeting signs that you see when you walk in, we have 4 of those. That'll be $22.50 a piece for a total of $90. The Board of Education podium sign you see right here will be $42.50. The banner will be $110. We do have signs that we use at our job fairs, and those are 20 of them, so that'll be about $340. We do have playground signs, 6 of them, which is $33 each. That's a total of $198. We have external signs at transportation and facilities. 3 of those will total approximately $1,000. Business cards, I hesitated to put that on here because on the back of our business cards are the district mission and vision statements, but we know from a few board meetings ago that those have been refined and revised also. So those will be new as of July 1, 2023 anyway, but we did put that here just for transparency, and those are $20 a box. So the projected cost is between $4,700 and $7,000 for that bit of logo rebranding.
Dr. Brown?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had a constituent ask me about the ID tags for the teachers. Are those going to be changed? And are those?
Those will, and we print those in house.
So there's no real cost.
So we don't send those out. We print those in house. And I remember because I looked at my ID badge and it had my picture and that lovely light blue suit I wear on the day that I got hired, and they printed that right in house. So we may have to get more badges and ink.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Put this back. Oh, this is difficult. I gotta lose some weight. Okay. Speaker series, Kids Escaping Drugs. So I've been very, very pleased with the speaker series that we have had. We had restorative educational practices. We had our DEI speaker series that I will be talking about towards the end of the community update. And our next speaker series, Kids Escaping Drugs, will be coming to do a 2-parter, an hour apiece on the same night. Monday, March 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Casey Middle School. They will be doing the face-to-face presentation on vaping and the harms of vaping and what parents can look for if you are suspecting or concerned that your child is vaping. The second meeting or the second presentation is something that was requested by the PTSA Council, and we partner with the PTSA Council, and this was brought up at one of the meetings. It's the dark side of social media. So it's important that, you know, as your kids grow up, they will find other social media sites that they can access and get to that are not what you want your kids on. So they will be presenting on the dark side of social media. And so that is on Monday, March 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Casey Middle School. So I wanted to explain, we did get a data update from the State Education Department. It's now made public. So the link that is in the community update will take you to the student achievement presentation that was presented by Dr. Balin in January 2023. There was information that was still TBD. That information has been updated as of this month, and that presentation has been updated. But we're going to highlight here what has been updated. We did receive our percent of students at levels 3 and 4 by subgroups. So by grade and subgroups, we received the percentage of students who are at level 3 and 4 for New York State ELA and math, broken up by the subgroups. So all of this information is in the January presentation updated, and we have it here in the community update. I'm going to move forward. We also have the graduation rates. We have additional graduation rate information because it breaks it down: Regents Diploma, LOCA Diploma, CDOS credentials, and Regents with advanced designations. And we also have January 2023 data update on graduation rates from 2022 by subgroup. And you can look here because the subgroups are very important. It shows that we do have some work to do to make sure all of our subgroups are over 90%. This is the type of data we will be looking at in the committees at our school and district-wide DEI committees to see where we need to do work at and to see where there may be some disproportionality. I will let you know, though, all of our schools have been identified as LSI. So that is the new accountability designation. You may be used to the term good standing. All of our schools were previously good standing. The new terminology they are using is LSI, so local support and improvement. Still really means the same as good standing, but the third bullet point here is very important. When you go below and says schools identified for LSI, formerly known as good standing, the third bullet point is important. Now, all schools have access to all New York State Education Department tools, resources, and statewide support sessions should they choose to create or build upon local continuous improvement infrastructure. So although we're not identified for additional support, many districts or schools that are get a lot of additional tools and resources from state ed. Those tools and resources are now available to LSI districts too. So we're not pushed out of that. We're able to access it if we choose to.
Dr. Brown.
Yes, let me go back. Go ahead.
Sorry, I had a question from the neighborhood on this. When you do look at this data, I think people have to recognize that. So like, I'm just giving you an example. If your child was in 4th grade this year, that data is, they're on the 3rd grade year.
And this is,
I always get that question, and it's a year off.
Always a year off.
Don't forget. I just wanted to reiterate that. That's
right. And so this is why, and we've had these conversations before, this is why it's hard to track, and this is why we shouldn't allow anyone, the State Education Department included, to weaponize data. Because when you talk about how well your 4th grade results are this year compared to last year, well, you're talking about two different sets of kids, right? What we have to start looking at is growth. So when you look at 4th grade results, then you look at 5th grade results, because that's where the kids are now. You want to look at the growth and not just the achievement. So a lot of times, again, going back to not weaponizing data, we have to be very, very smart when we look at the data, but then realize what it's really revealing, because we do have a high number of opt-outs in our district also, right? So all of these things come into consideration. That's why the state education department, they do say, to their credit, not to use this data in comparative measures. Thank you for that question, Board Member Biscaglia. After school buses. So this is a reminder. After school buses are still available for middle and high school students on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Students are able to remain after school and receive extra help or participate in extracurricular activities, and students are required to sign up by noon on the Tuesday and Thursday the buses are available. Women's History Month. So that's what we're currently in. March is Women's History Month, and we're going to continue to recognize and honor the life and legacy of historical figures. So this month, we're honoring Senator Tammy Duckworth, Alice Paul, Ibtihaj Muhammad, Judy Newman, Judy Human, Haben Germa, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. So these are the individuals, and our communications department does wonderful videos highlighting these women of distinction so we can recognize and honor their life and legacy during the month of March. So our game day that was scheduled for Thursday, March 16th with the Amherst Police Department at Mill Middle School is going to be postponed. So we will get this information out on all of our social media platforms, but unfortunately that game day had to be postponed right now. So additional details will follow. Our community forum will be held on March 28th at Casey Middle School in the library. This event will start following the scheduled budget work session that begins at 6:30 p.m. So the approximate start time for the community forum, we're saying, will be about 7:30 p.m. Would you agree, Dr. McCleary?
Yes.
Perfect.
And that this budget work session, it's important to note that it is the 6:30, not a usual 7 o'clock time.
Correct. That you know what, and what we'll do is get that information out also. Make sure we get it out. We have it out, but we'll get it out even more so everyone knows that that starts at 6:30 p.m., not 7 o'clock p.m. Thank you for that, Dr. McCleary. The draft DEI plan. So I wanted to share the feedback that we received from the DEI plan has been robust, and we do appreciate that. And it falls into 4 categories, and I'm going to go through just some of those categories and some of the highlights. So the first category from feedback is that we don't need the plan. So the feedback we received said the world and our schools are a diverse environment without drawing unnecessary attention to it. So if you attended the DEI symposium, the speaker series, you will see how DEI is definitely needed in every community. It truly, truly is needed in every community. If you listen to what Linda Ruiz said, if you listen to what Dr. Fatima Moreau said, what Dr. Hunter said, and what Will Green said, you will see how much DEI is needed. DEI is not a curriculum. We're not looking to have a DEI curriculum, but DEI is important so that we honor the diversity we have in our district. We look at our policies and procedures through an equitable lens, and we make sure our district is as inclusive as possible, creating a sense of belonging in our school buildings. A strong amount of support for the plan we also received. An example, I am very, very supportive of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Plan and any and all attempts to provide a representative and just educational experience for all of the children in the district. So we appreciate that support also. A third category is individuals that provided feedback and clearly did not read the plan. An example, my concern is that the district is spending a considerable amount of time, energy, and money on an idea versus supporting the prime purpose of a school district to educate children. If you really read the plan, you will see how a DEI plan works to strengthen the education that we give all of our students. And that's what the DEI plan is for. The fourth category dealt with feedback that was thoughtful, specific, and identified ways for us to enhance or give additional specifics to areas of the plan that would make it more understandable to parents and community members. So an example, feedback someone put in their email, feedback to goal number 2. This goal seems to speak to equity and access to the curriculum. What appears to be missing from the schools my children have attended is ... They gave us several examples and ways we can enhance the plan. And that's what we appreciate. Again, we appreciate all the feedback, but I wanted to categorize the way we received the feedback. But what we will do with that feedback is the DEI committee will be meeting again on Thursday, March 30th. We will take all the feedback prior to that meeting to review it and decide which areas, or see if any of the areas need to be clarified, enhanced, or more specific to a DEI goal. So on our website, we have our draft plan still up. We have the New York State video titled Equity, Excellence, and Access, and we'll continue to build our DEI page so that it's a resource to the community and you're able to read and understand components of the DEI plan. Keep in mind, the addendum to the DEI plan is the CR-S framework. That's the New York State Education Department Culturally Responsive and Sustaining Education Framework, and the New York State Call to Action. On our website, you can also rewatch the DEI speaker series on the YouTube channel. And before I leave, I do want to highlight what Chancellor of the Board of Regents, Chancellor Lester W. Young, just published in our recent issue of the On Board magazine from NYSSBA. He and the commissioner say experience and research have revealed that policies and practices alone do not determine students' educational outcomes. Schooling is both a social and a cultural endeavor. We must identify better ways to ensure school leaders, teachers, and other school staff appreciate how language, learning style, social category, and identity process work in educational settings. Understanding this knowledge base is essential to planning and implementing successful policy and practice solutions that will respond to ever-increasing diversity, guarantee inclusive learning environments, and safeguard equity and excellence for all New York students. So that is the community update. Any questions, board members? Mr. Bulin.
I just wanted to give you a compliment. I thought that DEI symposium was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Informative, and even as an educator myself, I thought I learned something that I could use in my classroom, and
Awesome.
I thought that was really informative, and I thought it helped explain it better than maybe we have been doing it. Does that make sense?
Very possible. Very possible. And that's why I encourage, when I even speak to my colleagues, I encourage every district to bring in experts in their given field related to DEI, because we have a great knowledge base in our district also, but it's also great to add to that with experts in the field. Thank you very much for that.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
I might have missed it, but is there like a timeline when we have the final plan?
Yeah, so after March 30th, after we review with the committee, the final plan will be brought to the board at the April board meeting.
I was just going to add that I certainly agree with Mr. Bulin. I was unable to be at that event, but I did see it on YouTube. So if there's anybody watching here that was not able to attend, please go to the YouTube and look at the video of it. It was excellent.
Thank you very much, President McCleary. I turn it back over to you.
All right. 12B, is there a motion to approve and adopt the 2023-2024 student calendar as presented? Dr. Singh, second?
No, he wasn't.
I want to make a motion to amend the school calendar for the next year.
That's what we do that
Oh,
before.
you're saying adopt.
We're
Not
saying
adopt, I want to amend.
You can do that when we get to discussion.
That's what I thought.
Bring it to the table first?
I always have the same feeling about many things, that you would think you should be able to do something first, and according to parliamentary discussions, certain items come second and third instead of first. But so I will get back to you. So is there a motion to approve and adopt as presented? And I think I saw,
Crystal?
Ms. Kasbarak Bogner.
No, but the question is, it says approve and adopt. We're not having a discussion then.
Approve and adopt.
This discussion comes after the
Okay.
after the motion.
Yes.
And we have a second.
But before the vote.
Do we have a,
Before we vote.
yeah. Is there a second? be talking about it. Mr. Biscaglia. Now, any discussion? Dr. Singh.
Thank you. I'll never get that right.
Get it right.
I mean, I want to bring a motion to amend the district calendar for the year 2023-24.
What do you want to?
I just want the change to be made regarding October 9th, change from Columbus Day to Italian Heritage / Indigenous Peoples Day.
I couldn't hear the first part. I'm sorry.
October 9th to Indigenous Peoples Day versus
Italian Heritage / Indigenous Peoples.
I couldn't hear the first part. I heard the indigenous. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Maybe I got to check my hearing.
Any other?
Did we get a second?
Discussion.
Did we have a second?
Is
for
there,
his motion?
would someone like to second Dr. Singh's amendment to clarify the date for October? Mr. Bulin, are there any other discussion items or changes or comments on the calendar? Ms. Kazmarek-Bogner.
It was my understanding that the DEI calendar committee, that was one of the topics that was going to be discussed in that committee. Am I correct in that?
Well, that was one of the items that they will be discussing also. Correct.
Okay, so in my opinion, if this is already an item on the agenda for that committee, I would prefer to wait till the committee does their work before making any amendments to the calendar. That's my opinion.
I mean, in response to your question, those changes will come in the following year, not in the calendar coming out now.
So,
Dr.
so
Lippman.
just for clarity's sake, are you saying we're going to remove the term Columbus Day and change that? Or we're going to add the things that you've mentioned to what's already listed?
No.
Replace the Columbus Day with Italian Heritage / Indigenous Peoples Day.
Okay, just so I'm clear.
Many districts, that is the term that many other districts use. But we, of course, can make our own decisions. Any other? Go ahead.
Although I love the deal because I'm Italian, but I guess the only thing I kind of, I guess if the DEI is looking at it, I just don't want to, maybe, I don't know. I question if they're going to want to change it next year. Like, is it going to change another year after that? But I do see your point that you want it for next year's calendar.
Any other comments? I have one also, but I will wait until anybody else speaks. Okay. I guess my comment would be that indeed the DEI will be looking at the whole thing, but because it's another year from that, I am in favor of agreeing with Dr. Singh because it's perhaps possible that the name should have been changed quite a while ago and it hasn't been. So that's why I would be in favor of his motion. Any other questions or comments? You don't?
I just look like this anyway.
Okay. So back on the motion as amended, which is to approve and adopt the 2023 student calendar with changing the name for October 9th to Indigenous Peoples Day /
No, I think. So I just want to get clarification from Parliamentarian Pullen, right? Because when you have a motion, you got a second because the calendar is not yet amended with that until the board votes on the amendment.
voting on the amendment.
Then you can move to
Apologize, you
vote
are correct.
on the amended calendar.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken. I just want to make, okay.
Correct.
You
That's
are
correct.
correct.
We have to vote on the current motion, which is to amend the calendar.
Then approve it.
All those in favor of amending the calendar to change the date of October 9th to Italian Heritage / Indigenous Peoples Day. We have to have that vote
All in favor?
because there's
Oh.
other things on the calendars.
Because that was a motion, there was a second,
Yes,
and then there was discussion.
yes.
Okay.
On that motion.
So we are voting on the proposed amendment,
Yes.
which is we're only voting at this moment about the name change on that date.
Mhm.
Okay?
Correct.
All in favor? Raise your hand. 1, 2. I have 3 people in favor. Those opposed to changing it? We have 2. Abstain?
We don't have 5. The motion dies for lack of,
Motion dies. The amendment is not carried forth for lack of a majority. So on the motion, the original motion to approve and adopt the 2023-24 student calendar as presented. We have a motion. Ms. Kazmarek Bogner, a second. Mr. Biscaglia,
already had that.
we've had the discussion. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay.
Are you gonna vote?
I am abstaining.
Okay.
Motion carries
7.
701. On the district safety plan, Dr. Brown Hall or Mr. Scanzuzzo,
Oh, yeah.
discussion?
I'll just speak to it very quickly. So we're going to extend the comment period because we had the comment period open and we discussed it at the February meeting. However, there were not directions given on how individuals can actually comment. So we will definitely have that on the weekly update. You're going to use the email contact@williamsvilleschools.k12.org, very similar to how you provided feedback for the DEI plan. And in the subject line, you will simply put district safety plan feedback. We will put that on a slide. We'll have it on the website and we'll have it on the weekly update. So we're going to extend the comment period because that was something we overlooked, making sure individuals had a vehicle to provide the feedback. So we apologize for that.
Thank you. 12D, is there a motion to take from the table for the second reading of policies 1510, 5210, 5250, 5260, 5530, 5550, 5551, 5572, 5570, and 8290? Motion? Ms. Blackinger, second. Ms. Poulin. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Is there a motion for the second reading and adoption of policies 1510, 5220, 5250, 5260, 5530, 5550, 5551, 5572, 5570, and 8290 as presented? Ms. Poulin, second. Dr. Singh. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve and authorize the transfer of funds as presented in our material? Dr. Littman, second. Mr. Bulin, any discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Dr. Brown Hall, I turn it over to you and Mr. Matursky for the information on the 2023-2024 budget development.
Thank you very much, Board President McCleary. I'm going to turn it over to our Executive for Finance, and that's our Assistant Superintendent of Finance, Mr. Tom Matursky.
Thank you, Dr. Brown Hall. This evening, we'll be continuing our information on the 2023-24 budget. Moving into the expenditure side of the budget, this information is the same as what was presented back in February. And just to highlight where we're at and some of the major items here, as you can see, we're looking at mostly salary and benefit increases, and we have some additional increases this year that we normally would not have in transportation, cybersecurity, and utilities. And as I've mentioned in past meetings, those are principally due to the fact of the inflation factors that we're facing in those areas. Just to note, as you can see, the information is really put into two sides. The left side, of course, is for the current budget we're talking about, 23-24. And the right side is to give an indication on what those expenses, which are pretty much annual, what they will look like in the future. The one item I want to call to your attention again is health insurance. We have had a significant increase, and we're self-insured, so these are actual claims paid over the last 2 years. So since we've had a 2-year period of time and working with our consultant, this is going to continue on in the future and be our new normal. So that's why you see a larger increase of about $4.1 million in that budget line, and yet you see that going down in the succeeding year of being about 1.7. So that 1.7 is reflecting more of a normal increase, which again, this is looking a little bit too far in the future, but with consultants' assistance, that's looked at about 7%. So when we look at the numbers together, we've got a $12,320,397 increase, and that creates a working budget of $224,848,483, which is a 5.80% increase. So the next piece is the information we have on reductions. And as the board knows, we had a significant number of retirements, teacher retirements in particular. And so we were able to come up with almost $1.5 million in reductions. And this is a consideration of the fact that we do pay a 15% retirement incentive to the teachers. So again, that's worked into this number. And so when we move forward, what we can see is the total here being, when we take that increase from the prior page and what our reductions are, we have a continuation increase of $10,859,917, creates a development budget at this point in March of $223,388,003, becoming a 5.11% increase. So in the prior meeting, I went over some of the information on our tax cap. This has now been submitted to the Comptroller's office. It was required on March 1st, so we met that deadline. I'm not going to go through the entire calculation. Again, just highlighting a couple factors. The CPI rate that New York State has as a maximum to show as an increase on this calculation is 2%. And yet our CPI rate for the Northeast region was 6.5% for last year. So it just shows you, we have all experienced it personally, how much inflation has hit our own budgets and how it's hitting the budget here as well. What we've done, though, is when we go through the calculation, the most important points I want to stress are that our tax cap number, and that's the levy increase that the board could actually authorize under the tax cap, would be $4,598,636. That would be a 3.35% increase. However, what we are presenting and what we are recommending is a levy increase substantially under that, $2,745,000, or at 2%. So that's a little over $1.8 million under what would be the maximum. So why are we doing that? And the reason is really because of the fact that we've received a significant amount of state aid through Governor Hochul's initial state aid projections. So that amount of $9.2 million, $8.3 million of that is really our foundation aid amount. There are some other increases and decreases that always occur throughout our budget based on the receipts that we're receiving this year and the actual receipts we received in prior years. But one of the things I want to again highlight is toward the bottom of this sheet, and that's the fact that we've also reduced fund balance and reserve allocations by $2,430,000. And then when you look at the fact that, again, we're at that lower levy amount, we're able to still balance our budget and do so with, again, the lower levy amount. So with that, when we look at what we're at as far as a total on our budget, the summary, you can see we do have a balanced budget. And just again, to highlight those major factors here, although we could be at that $4.5 million for tax cap, we're going to be at only $2,745,000 or a 2% increase. And that's $1,853,636 under the tax cap amount. We have a budget increase then of 5.11%. So just kind of showing what we're looking at if you had a house that valued or assessed at $250,000. This is for Amherst residents. It would be an estimated rate of $18.82, a 37-cent tax rate increase at that 2% amount. That's what the rate would go up based on this point in time. And if you want to see where you would be at if you have the STAR exemptions, if you're in a tax credit situation, which is where you get the money back on your income tax returns, your full rate increase would be $92.29 for the entire year. Your STAR contribution, if you're at basic, would be $82.27 as an increase. And if you're on the enhanced STAR plan, it would be $69.83. So the next slide I want to show you is information concerning our foundation aid. We're required at this point to provide a plan to our community to share exactly what we're doing with the foundation aid. If your increase is over 10%, that's when the plan does require us to do the presentations. We have done this in the past. Our increases have been over that 10% amount. So again, this year, we're looking at a 23.45% increase. And so what we're doing is we're providing the email address here, arpcomment@williamsvillek12.org. That's going to be for the ability to provide information on this foundation aid. And the comment period will be open March 14th as of today through April 21st. And we'll provide information back in June. So what's in our plan? I'm not going to go through every exact item here, but it is online. And what I want to do is just kind of highlight, there's a couple major foundation aid uses that we must follow. And it's our ability to select them. And what you're going to see is, for the most part, we've selected the support to meet state learning standards in core academic areas for pretty much all of these items. One point I want to make here is that this does not mean that these dollars are in addition to the general fund budget. They are included within the general fund budget. So I want to make that you're not going to see an actual budget code in that budget for these items, but they're supported by our total budget, which I just reviewed. So again, some of these items, math specialist at the elementary and middle level to provide remediation and intervention. We're providing additional literacy support for materials for phonics, summer resources for E&L. We're going to be providing school counselors at the elementary and middle school levels, our continuation of the certified behavior analyst, student wellness initiatives. For example, primary project sources of strength, web and link crew, reading specialist at the elementary, middle and high schools to provide remediation and intervention. And items to support summer school for middle school students and algebra, and then teaching assistants to provide individual and small group support for students in ELA reading and math. So again, that number totals the $8,114,136. And if you were to go back into my presentation and look to see what I had for foundation aid, you're going to say, hey, that number's not the same. That's because this number is what we have to report to the state, and that's due to what they tell us the number should be. Here, our number is based upon the state aid reports, and there will be variances there because we have to look at what we expect the actual amount to be. And again, I just wanted to make that clear. So with that said, Today, we have this presentation, and our next presentation will be on March 28th at 6:30, as Dr. Brown Hall mentioned. That's our budget work session. April 18th, 2023 is the board meeting, which will also have a presentation as well as the adoption of the budget. May 4th is our annual meeting. That's required by law. So we have an annual meeting each year before the actual budget vote. And on May 16th, that is our budget vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matursky. I'll turn it back over to Board President McCleary.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask for a motion to recess the regular board meeting for the purpose of conducting the budget work session. Need a motion? Ms. Kazmarek Bogner, second. Ms. Bleckinger, all in favor? Motion carried unanimously. And I would like to call the budget work session to order. All board members are present. We will now have our public forum for the budget only. Anyone wishing to address the board in regard to the budget may go to the podium at this time. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn the budget work session? Ms. Kazmarek Bogner, second. Ms. Poulin, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Would someone like to make a motion to return to the regular board meeting? Dr. Singh, second. Ms. Bleckinger, all in favor? Thank you. We're back. If you have any liaison reports, please send them to Mrs. Carey. The list of assignments and meeting dates are in board docs. Does anyone need coverage for any meeting? Does anyone have anything else to report under liaison assignments? Yes, Mary.
I haven't looked closely at the schedule, but were there any assignments for Mrs. Leatherbarrow that are going to need to be covered?
I have been covering them for several.
Okay,
things,
so you'll
but-
be continuing to do so?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
unless someone else would like to do that. But thank you for asking. Item 16, Dr. Brown Hall, Mr. Matursky, I turn it over to you to discuss the school bus transportation issuance of a request for proposal.
Right, so this doesn't need a full presentation or anything, but if Tom wants to speak to it, but we will be issuing an RFP for bus transportation for the beginning the 24-25 school year, not 23-24. So if Mr. Matursky would like to say anything else about it, it is in board docs, but I'll turn it over to our CFO, Tom Matursky.
Yes, our contract does expire next year, 23-24. And as we move forward, we need to do a new RFP because at this point in time, because it really takes a significant amount of time to, if there is a new contractor, to have the contractor locate a area to have a terminal within the district, to make sure they have acquire the buses and the bus drivers. So this doesn't mean that we will have a new contractor, but the need to do an RFP is something that we want to make sure we get through in a timely manner. The RFP actually will be out later this month. It will be opened at the end of April, and then the expected anticipated approval date would be at the July meeting.
Anyone have questions?
I have a question. What is the anticipated number of people that you think might bid on this, or companies that might bid on this, if at all?
Probably 2.
Dr. Littman.
Similar to my question, but I guess the other part of it is, do we have any in-house busing now, or is it all consigned out?
Yeah, we are 100% contracted out.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Now, may I have a motion to resolve and approve the May 16th vote notices as presented? Ms. Poulin, second. Dr. Singh, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you, carried unanimously. We have no legislative matters to discuss, no curriculum matters to discuss. Number 20, personnel. May I have a motion to resolve and approve the Executive Director of Public Relations contract as presented? Excuse me. Dr. Singh, second. Ms. Poulin, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstention? One abstention? All right. So we have 701. Correct? Okay. Thank you. We have no matters to discuss under special needs and student activities. Number 22, does anyone have any item to discuss under the committee of the whole? Okay. 23, correspondence. We received correspondence regarding the district logo, district library books, the exchange student program, the busing policy, and DEI. Our next board meetings are the budget work, the budget work session on March 28th and the regular board meeting on April 18th. Is there a motion to adjourn the regular board meeting? Yulin, second. Dr. Singh, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you.